Everybody, how are we? We're back. I'm here again with Johnny Trappe as he makes his adventure through the Harry Potter series. Tonight, we got book 2. How long did it take you to read this?
This one I think was 4 days, 4 or 5
4
days.
days. That's shocking. I thought it was gonna be much quicker. So we will be
Probably, no,
discussing.
probably because I went to my parents' house over the weekend. So
Okay, there you go. So yes, we will be discussing book 2, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. It makes me laugh. All right, so let's get started with our little candle action. By candlelight tonight, I'm here by candlelight. Johnny Trapp. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So the Chamber of Secrets starts off back at the Dursleys. So that summer you get more of, I think you see more of the bad side of the Dursleys, even though they were really bad in book 1, but book 2, you really see it coming out. They shove him upstairs. Well, he does get a new room, which is nice, right? But the part where they have guests and they have a partying going on, and they make Harry stay upstairs. So probably one of the coolest things about book 2 is the introduction to Dobby the house elf. So what is your take on Dobby the house elf? Arguably one of the best characters in the whole series.
yeah, I agree. I mean, what's not to love about Dobby? I loved him. He's a little nutcase, so he had a little of the comedy factor. But he did come across that he genuinely cared about Harry, warning him about returning to Hogwarts. So it was like it was a cool balance of him like being dead serious and him just being an absolute nutcase.
Yeah, highlighted that whole situation by when he flips, I think Petunia's like pudding or something in the kitchen, and they all get pissed off at Harry and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Bar the windows, and then one of the probably cooler scenes, and possibly the whole book, is when Ron and his brothers come and steal Harry with the flying car, and take him back to the Borough. So this is your introduction to the Borough. What do you think of the Borough? Probably one of the coolest houses.
Yeah,
This
part of the book was cool. Really, really cool part. Just like how it was just sad almost, like how much the family loved Harry and welcomed Harry into their home and treated him so nice, and he was like almost weirded out by it because he had never felt nothing anywhere
compassion.
like, yeah, I was just like, damn, like that's sad. Like
I didn't even think about that.
The house is super cool. Like just magic was going on everywhere, and it's just a part of their day-to-day life. That was super cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that J.K. Rowling didn't introduce something like this until the second book. So you go through the entire first book, and the only magic you really see is at the school. So This is your first time where you see what life is like for an entire Wizarding family at the Borough, which just happens to be a super kick-ass house within itself. Yeah. And you get first look into the Weasley family, which is a classic family with Molly and Arthur, who are like the coolest parents ever. So that was just an awesome introduction. So after the Borough, they go to school shopping, and they run into Professor Lockhart. Did you love Lockhart or what?
No.
Hated him.
He's
the worst. Yeah.
I did not like him.
The part where they're heading towards platform 9 3/4 to go back to school, and they don't make it into the wall. Do you remember why they didn't make it into the wall, into the platform?
Ron
and Harry.
Dobby did that, right?
He sure did. Trying to keep him out. So they hop into the car, and fly to Hogwarts, which is just classic Ron and Harry getting to mischief, as they always do. And they go into, that's when they fly into the Whomping Willow, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then the car kind of like runs away into the forest. Back at school. So Quidditch again comes up in here, and I know that you love talking about Quidditch. So this is even cooler storyline in the Quidditch world, because Draco is now the new Slytherin Seeker because his dad and his family bought everybody new brooms and all that good stuff. And you also get kind of a first taste of the whole mudblood situation when Draco calls Hermione a mudblood. Mudblood, of course, being
coming from a Muggle family.
having both Muggle parents.
Yeah.
So before this, you see kind of a distaste for like basically people, Slytherin students and everybody else. But this is a kind of a more harsh reality that involved in the wizarding world with it's along the lines of like real problems that are in the real modern day, like races and people hating people for religion and stuff.
Discrimination.
Yeah, so it was unfortunately really relatable to like a real life situation. So it kind of intertwines the magic world and what we have going on in our world. Shortly after return to school, the very first attack happens. Do you remember who the first people who were attacked, petrified, were?
It was the cat, Mrs. Norris.
The cat gets petrified, and then there's a message written on the wall. I don't remember what the message is.
I might know that.
What is it?
It's the Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air beware.
Oh, man, that made me so happy. I thought it was just the Chamber of Secrets has been opened or something. Yeah, that's like goosebumps. Like, no way. Also, during this whole thing, Harry hears an eerie voice. Right away, Harry kind of gets thrust into the storyline, whether he wants to or not, which always seems to happen. There's always a problem going on at school, and Professor Snape always says, like, how come when there's something wrong, you three always show up? Harry kind of gets dragged into it every time. Like, he's the only one there that hears a voice or anything. Like, of course he's going to start freaking out about it and being curious about it. Like, how can you not? During that whole situation, I guess Harry, Ron, and Hermione learned that 50 years ago, Chamber of Hogwarts was opened and a student was killed. This is a pretty crazy situation because it kind of opens up the book, you know, the chamber has been opened, they figure out somebody's died. And it's the first time you ever hear that. I think up until now, even though book one was like really crazy and violent and them trying to find the Sorcerer's Stone and going through all those tasks, this is really the first time you hear of Hogwarts as being like dangerous. Like a student was once killed. And I think this is kind of a turning point in the book series where it goes from like a childhood or a child story into like a little bit mature, because now you're bringing like even we were talking about like how cool Hogwarts is and like how magical and like sunshine and everything like that. But
I wanted to touch on that too. Like this book, like there was a certain part where it was like a real immediate shift of this just got really dark.
Yeah.
Like, it was no longer like bright and magical, like you're saying.
What moment specific did that cross your mind? Was it when like Mrs. Norris or like the blood was written on the wall, or it was?
Probably that, yeah. Like, because up until that point, I think they were talking about the chamber, but it was like a rumor and a myth. Nobody really believed it. I mean, the kids were curious, but the teachers said, "Nah, it's not real." So when that attack happens and you realize like you're no longer safe even walking down the halls, and there's blood written on the wall and possible chamber with a crazy monster in it, like dark turn for sure.
Yeah, and especially again, I keep bringing this up, like the two of us always talk about how awesome it would be to be like a wizard in Hogwarts, but like that's an insanely dangerous world constantly. Like magic is, although super fun and like really cool to think about, it's an extremely dangerous world. So Dobby comes up again. There's the Quidditch match against Slytherin. Who wins that Quidditch match? Gryffindor and Slytherin. How does it end?
I don't remember.
The goat.
They Gryffindor won.
Yeah, Harry, the goat. Greatest of all time. Actually, not even remotely true, but
he broke his arm in the process.
Yeah. So how does he break his arm? Dobby comes up again and tries another attempt at keeping Harry home or forcing him to get home, where he enchants a ball and injures him. How about we get some safety in this game? This is 2 times in 2 years that somebody has messed with Harry playing this game.
Yeah.
Like, how could we not figure that out by now?
Right.
Is it just accepted that, like, at any time? Could you imagine, like, somebody putting like a hex on like LeBron, like, at a Laker game? Like, no, that's not going to happen. They got security for that.
Right.
Everybody just stands idly by and watches Harry gets tormented on a broomstick. It's absurd. So because of the chamber has been opened and Hogwarts has kind of entered a new alarming rate, Lockhart begins a dueling club. So talk me through the dueling situation. This is when Harry speaks Parseltongue to his snake. Run me through that.
Well, I was kind of shocked that Lockhart even did that in the first place, because you can kind of, he's bragging all the time and talk like, you know, being self-obsessed and talking up about himself, but you could kind of tell it was.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of why they made him do it, because like McGonagall and Snape like are always like, oh yeah, you're the man, like show him how it's done.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, that's true. But anyway, yeah, that part was really cool. Kind of really intense when Harry does that, and everyone, like, in front of everyone, and it's just not a good situation to be doing that, speaking to snakes in front of people, obviously, as you find out. But if it was in front of a few people, it'd be different. But like the fact that it was like up on the stage, and
Yeah, and to add on to that, the Chamber of Secrets has been opened, and it talks about being the heir or the enemy of Slytherin beware. And now we got Harry speaking Parseltongue, and of course snakes and Slytherin, and
he
yeah,
goes
so
right to the top of everybody's suspect list for sure.
yeah, once again, that's what I mean. He's got like the worst. Like, imagine going to school and every single year something ridiculous happens. I would never have graduated college. The next people who are petrified are Justin Finch Fletchley and Nearly Headless Nick. At the end, I want to talk about all the people who are petrified and kind of run you through some of that stuff. So, Polyjuice Potion. So, that is your first. So, you reading the Polyjuice Potion scene, it's kind of the first potion that like people kind of take, I guess, or like there's potions class, but I don't think in book 1 there's like any scene or anything where like people are actually taking a potion and changing themselves. So
That was pretty. It was pretty cool. I liked how long it took them. Like, it helped me understand, like, that's not easy to just make a potion and solve all your problems. Like, they had to, like, it was several chapters that they're working on this thing. And then especially like the main ingredient is the hardest one to get, like a piece of the person you're trying to get into. So just as they're, figuring out how to put this potion together, it was definitely cool to kind of watch them go through the stages of that. It's pretty cool.
Well, at least for 2 of them, because of course Hermione turns into
right,
that chick's cat. This is also your first introduction to Moaning Myrtle. Yeah, so Harry runs into a diary in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom where they've been cooking up the Polyjuice Potion and everything, because it's a haunted and kind of vacant bathroom. So this is when Harry first gets the diary and starts using it and starts writing in it. Harry writes in the diary, and it starts responding to him, writing back. And then Harry eventually is introduced to Tom Riddle, and they kind of figure out through all these different, honestly, just being curious kids that they are, that many years ago, Tom Riddle was a boy who accused Hagrid of opening the Chamber of Secrets. Reading that story back, did you suspect that Hagrid was guilty, or did you just like immediately write it off? Because Hagrid has a history of like befriending these big crazy monsters and things like that. So did you think that there was any chance that he was involved?
right. I mean, it definitely made me think, honestly, because
It makes sense.
you meet him as this big, jolly, friendly man, but anyone can have a dark past. So, like, maybe he did do it. I don't know. Like, and the evidence was stacked up against him for sure.
Next, we have Hermione and a Ravenclaw girl are mysteriously petrified. So it's cool that they threw Hermione under the bus. Well, they didn't throw her under the bus, but it's cool that Hermione was petrified and everything, because through at least up until now and even book 1, like Hermione honestly saves them pretty much all the time. Like even in just like day-to-day schoolwork, like she's the person who's like she's the parent pretty much, and Harry and Ron are the kids. So Hermione's out, crossed out. So now Harry and Ron have to figure out this whole thing by themselves. And while they're doing this, they go down to Hagrid to kind of figure out what's going on with the beast and all these stories about Hagrid. And you see Cornelius Fudge and Lucius Malfoy removing Dumbledore and Hagrid from Hogwarts. So the whole follow the spiders thing. First of all, are you afraid of spiders?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's my
So
number one
as
thing.
somebody who's also afraid of spiders, how was that whole sequence when they follow the spiders into the Forbidden Forest?
I do not like it. I mean, I would be just like Ron. I'm like, please no. Like,
It's
why?
the worst.
Can we do anything else but this right now? Like,
And you know when you're reading it and they all start to come, like you know that there's going to be like a big giant one. Of
yeah, because
course.
you're gonna like you see the little ones running on the floor in a line. Like, where do you think they're going, dude?
Yeah, and they increasingly get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you know it's coming.
I don't want to be there. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't like
The absolute worst. And then they get, of course, saved by what? Who? What saves them from the spiders?
Honestly, surprisingly, it was the car.
Yeah, the car was all beaten, battered up.
That was like the first time, because you knew it was a magic car, but that was the first time. And I don't think it ever gets explained. That's the first time you really see the car like have a mind of its own.
It has a personality. Yeah. Where did that come from? Does that happen with everything? It's just inanimate. What is the word? What is the word for object? Inanimate?
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that. Just you throw magic on an object and now all of a sudden it has like a mind and personality. It's very, very cool how it comes and kind of saves them. And then it's also cool how it like drops them off and then it's like deuces and like just
goes right back, yeah.
Goes back into the forest. So a few days later, Ron and Harry discover a piece of paper with a description of a basilisk on Hermione's frozen hand on the piece of paper. So the whole basilisk situation. So if spiders is your number one, where does snakes rank for you as scariest creatures, animals?
Not as high. I mean, you don't come across snakes nearly as often as spiders, so
that's a good point.
Out of sight, out of mind. I mean, they're definitely creepy, gross me out too. So
for me, I would say it's spiders, sharks, and snakes. So like, if there was like a giant shark in the Chamber of Secrets, that would have been the only way that would have been worse for me. The first time I read it, it's like
spiders are worse for me because they can be tiny and they still can be. Like at least a snake, I'll see it, but like spider.
What about what would you be more afraid of now? A basilisk, a giant snake, or like Aragog, like the biggest freaking spider? What would be scarier to you?
Well, probably the spider, because when if the car didn't conveniently save them, 100% they died. Like there was millions of these spiders coming down upon them, like they were screwed. And then this snake is just one snake that you have to fight. So
I think I'd rather take the snake though, because it's like you're dead, like it's an instant death. Like spiders, like I don't know how they would eat you, like suck your blood out.
Power of, killing you if it looks at you. So
yeah, that's true. So dude, I'll take the freaking snake all day. It's an immediate death. So after you hear about the basilisk, Ginny Weasley, there's an announcement that comes out from the teachers. Ginny Weasley has been taken into the chamber. So that begins the whole next phase, the ending of the book, pretty much. Now Ron and Harry, of course, were already thrust into the situation, are now like, all right, we got to do this thing. Lockhart comes with them, which I think is a really funny twist, especially when he like accidentally curses himself and just loses his mind. So then Harry goes by himself, enters the chamber. Tom Riddle is standing there with Ginny's still body in the Chamber of Secrets. Did you know that the Tom Marvolo Riddle thing moved around was Lord Voldemort, or I am Lord Voldemort?
I didn't know that, unfortunately.
Damn.
But I'm telling you, after this book, this is really where my knowledge from the films leave, and now I'm in the dark again. or for the first time. So
I think that is one of the cool. Of course, there's a lot of like twists and turns throughout everything, but that I think is one of the, like when I first read that, I was like, oh, like no way. Like I thought that was the absolute coolest thing because it's on.
super creative on J.K. Rowling's part. Like,
Yeah, even like throwing the Marvel in there, like it's honestly kind of like a stretch, but like it works. I think it works the way it does it because like Tom Riddle is such a mysterious character, and you don't really know what's going on with him. So I think that whole thing works. Tom Riddle calls the Basilisks out and starts coming after Harry. Phoenix comes. The Phoenix comes. Do you remember the Phoenix's name?
is it Fox? Fox?
Yeah, Fawkes. Fox comes in, and what does he do immediately?
Blinds the basilisk, so you can't die when you look at it.
Right, and he also brings a sorting hat, which is interesting. And the sword of Gryffindor, right? So Harry dukes it out with the basilisk, eventually kills it. And then how does Harry decide to rid the diary?
He stabs it with said basilisk's fang that had come out.
Said thing, right. Destroys the diary, and then Ginny wakes up. Pretty much the end of the book. Harry is talking to Dumbledore about everything that happened. And then Dobby gets freed, right? So I love how that is kind of like how the book ends. Because it's like such, like you talked about before, it gets in such a dark, dark way for so long. And so honestly scary and frightening and everything. And then it ends with like freaking Dobby holding up a sock, being free and everything. So it ends kind of on a light note.
And that just further proves or shows Harry's like selflessness. Like he didn't have to do that. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna help the elf.
Yeah, especially after all that freaking Dobby did to him throughout the year. It's freaking ridiculous. So a couple things that I want to get into. That's like the quick summary of the book. Touch on this a bit. The Dursley's bigotry against Harry for being magical is echoed later by the Malfoy's bigotry against everyone except pure blood wizards. This is exactly what we said earlier. The whole mudblood thing is the first time that J.K. Rowling brings into like some similar reality to what happens in the world or what has happened in the world for a really long time. And she mixes it right in with the whole, the Malfoys and the Dursleys are pretty much the same people, just like one in the wizarding world and one in the real world, right?
Like they're seeing discrimination from both sides. Like they're saying, we hate wizards, and they're saying we hate mudbloods, regular humans.
Yeah, pretty much anybody who's not in the wizarding world. So it kind of starts the whole dialogue of there being a huge, I guess, hatred from both parties that you don't see within the first book, and it becomes it kind of carries the entire second book, right? This whole idea of these two worlds completely hating each other, mostly for no reason, honestly. I guess Muggles, the Dursleys were mostly scared, I think, and then the Malfoys were just more of like they're beneath us.
Oh, what's really cool is obviously there's people on both sides as well that are not hateful.
Of course, yeah.
Like Hermione's parents, they accept the fact that she goes there, and then like the Weasleys and like the twins. I love that part when the twins pick the lock by hand, and they're like, why didn't you just do that by magic? He's like, well, that's a human thing that we thought was pretty cool to learn, so we learned it. Like the fact that they admire non-magical things too is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, their dad, that's literally what he does for a living, right? He works in the Ministry of Magic, and he works with like muggle-made things and things that wizards accidentally mess with muggle-made things. So the last thing, so we got 2 for 2. Both times Harry defeats Voldemort. Book 1, he's barely alive. He's barely clinging on to life. And then in book 2, he kind of battles Voldemort through, I honestly don't even know what you would call that. Like a past self or something?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like a not fully materialized spirit, I guess. Because I noticed Tom Riddle himself is harmless because he can't really do anything. Like he's standing there. He could have, if he had full power, he would have killed Harry right there. But he had to get the basilisk involved. because
Yeah.
he like and still an incomplete version of himself. So he was just standing by.
Yeah. Well, do you think that he was like actually there, or it was just like spirit or something? Like I don't even know what to call it, but like, so
Yeah,
you're pretty much saying that he wasn't like he's not physically there. He's more of
yeah,
like an idea.
more like a memory, like the diary is like a memory, and
Right.
Harry can see that through the diary. I feel like he was just a materialization of the past Voldemort, but he's not really there. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So no, it does make sense. So take that a step further. Like what does that ultimately mean? I mean, it ultimately means Voldemort is an insanely and incredibly powerful person to be able to do that. Like that's a crazy piece of it's the most advanced magic that up until this point you've ever heard of.
Summoning himself from this other existence that he's in to put himself into Harry's world. That is nuts.
Yeah. So a couple questions I have for you. Let's talk about Polyjuice Potion. So if you had the ability to make Polyjuice Potion, who would you choose to become, and how would you get a piece of their like DNA to put into the potion?
Oh my god! Like I don't want to be like mischievous or rule breaking when I do it, but I feel like that's the only way to use it. um, I would just love to do become not Voldemort, Dumbledore, just so I can go. No, I said not him, Dumbledore, just so I could like go into because like I love that part where Harry's in Dumbledore's office and he like seeing all his stuff and private office collection and everything. So like I would want to become him and just like really learn everything that Dumbledore knows as quickly as I could.
Or at least just play with the things that he has in his office. Like he's got so much cool stuff going on, and he's for however long it lasts. I don't remember. It's like an hour, something, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're one of the most powerful wizards like of all time, so that is also a pretty cool benefit. So if you were going to become Dumbledore, how would you do it? How would you get a piece of him, his hair, or something like that?
Yeah, that's the hard part because
I don't know
he
if you'd be able to.
very very smart. He even knew when Harry and Ron were in Hagrid's hut.
Oh,
Even
when they're in the invisibility cloak and he looks over and he's kind of like, "What's up, guys?"
yeah, he knew. There's no getting better the best of good old
All
Dumbledore.
right, so hold on to that thought, but answer the second part of that question. So, in real world, like you right there, who would you want to become for like however long Polyjuice Potion lasts?
That's hard. Um, I don't know, just maybe like Jeff Bezos or some billionaire, and then just Venmo Johnny Trap $1 billion.
It says Polyjuice Potion may last between 10 minutes and 12 hours. That's a pretty crazy range. You can knock out a lot of stuff as Jeff Bezos for 10 minutes.
Because like the thing with the Polyjuice, because it has such a limited time, is like you have to have a goal before you do it. The big three, Ron, Hermione, and Harry, they had a goal, and they knew they needed that to achieve it. But like I don't know, unless I really conjure up something, like I wouldn't know what to use it for. Like
I think I would become somebody like either like a professional athlete and like play in like an NBA basketball game. I think would be really cool just to like see how it is as like somebody who's really good. Or become like Kanye or Drake and just like go in the studio, like make a song and then release it and just be like, just see how it goes. Because like people are gonna be like, oh, Drake just dropped a new song, like it's dope, but really it was me the whole time. Like that's what I would do, I think. So you brought up this point that while they were in Hagrid's hut and they were in the invisibility cloak, that Dumbledore like knew he was there. So throughout the first book and second book, do you think he knew everything that was going on with Harry and kind of just like let it happen?
see, I'm kind of getting that vibe because
Like how much do you think he knows what's going on in the halls of his school at all times?
right. Well, I definitely a ton because doesn't he have the ability to apparate? Powerful
Technically, yes.
theoretically. Never seen him do it, but um, yeah, I feel like he can definitely do things that the kids don't know about. It's like he can probably go invisible too, like without a cloak. The kids do the stuff, but like I feel like he lets it happen because he knows this is part of Harry's journey and maturing. So he has to go through that.
Yeah, to become who Harry needs to become.
He helps him just enough.
He sends Fox and the sword and stuff.
Right.
But like, imagine if Harry died in that situation. Like, do you think he'd be like, "Damn, I should have helped more"? Like that one's on me. Like that would be so mad. Let's talk about the people who were petrified by the basilisk. So we have, first of all, can you name all of them? I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. Mrs. Norris.
Flinch. What is his name? Justin
Finch Fletcherly.
Yeah, Hermione. I don't remember the little annoying ass kid's name.
Colin Creevy.
Yep, Colin. And the Ravenclaw chick.
Penelope Clearwater.
Yeah.
And one more. Technically, he isn't alive.
Oh, yeah. Nearly headless Nick.
Nearly headless Nick. So, do you know why none of them died?
Yeah, I remember them talking about that. So, it was because none of them looked him directly. None of them looked the basilisk directly in the eye. Like, concrete through his camera lens. Hermione was in a mirror.
Yeah, so I was about to ask you as an advanced question, can you name all of the reasons why they didn't die? Or like what attributed them to not dying?
Through camera lens, Hermione, the mirror. I know Mrs. Norris saw him in the water, like the reflection of the water. I don't really remember the other guys.
Justin Finch Fletchley, how come he didn't die? He saw the basilisk through what? Nearly Headless Nick. He actually saw him through Nearly Headless Nick. Nearly Headless Nick's not going to die because he's already ghost. Penelope Clearwater, I believe, was also involved with the mirror thing with Hermione. I think they like ricocheted off of mirrors and something like that. What are some of your favorite new magical things that you witnessed in book 2? We talked about the flying car and how you can give Muggle things like a personality and magic. We talked about Polyjuice Potion. What are some other things that you've seen? The Whomping Willow. We talked about a tree that's alive.
Yeah. I loved Fox.
Phoenix. That's cool. Yeah.
Phoenix, super cool. How it dies and Harry like panics and then it's reborn from its own ashes. That's
yeah.
I was gonna say I love Dobby, like the man. He's
house elf. Sure. Yeah.
He's very magical. Like he just snaps his fingers and shit goes down. Like,
yeah.
He doesn't even need a wand or anything.
He can do anything. He's doing stuff from different rooms of the house.
There was a ton of ghosts in this book too. Like they went to the party. This Nick is present a lot. Moaning Myrtle's present a lot. So like you get a lot of that.
Maybe some of them are super annoying. I mean, Peeves, right?
Yeah.
Peeves is like top 10 worst things ever. Like he sucks so much. All right, so there is a quiz that I want to do with you. It's 25 questions, and we're going to submit the answers at the end and see how we do. Question 1, what kind of creature is Dobby?
An elf.
He's a house elf.
House elf.
Correct. And you mentioned this too earlier, which was cool. What did Fred and George use to open Harry's locked bedroom door?
A lockpick.
What is the first thing Mr. Weasley said when he found out his sons had flown his car into Harry's house?
Didn't he almost like he's kind of proud of him in a way?
Yeah.
Like, how'd that go, guys?
Yeah. How'd it fly? While in Borgin and Burke's Nocturne Alley, Harry watches Draco examine a cursed necklace that has killed many Muggle owners. According to its card, how many Muggles has the necklace killed?
No idea.
19, 18, 17, or 20? I don't know the answer either.
I'm going to say 19.
All right, let's see. On Harry's last night in the Borough, before starting his second year at Hogwarts, what do Harry and the Weasleys have for dessert?
Pudding?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pudding. After crashing Mr. Weasley's Ford and Gelia into the Whomping Willow, who's the first teacher Ron and Harry come in contact with?
Snape.
Is it Snape or is it Lockhart?
Oh, Snape.
I'm pretty sure it's Lockhart, and
No,
this is why I think it's Lockhart.
They're late to the sorting ceremony, and they're looking through the window. And
Is it Snape?
Snape catches them.
We'll see. The reason why I think it's Lockhart is because they do detention with Lockhart. Do you remember what Lockhart makes them do in detention?
No.
He makes Harry sign like fan letters and stuff for him.
Oh, yeah.
It could be Snape. I'm going to put Snape and see if that's right. What plant are the Gryffindors and Hufflepuffs working with on their first day of second year of herbology?
Mandrakes. I do love mandrakes. They're annoying as hell, but they also have
They just scream.
great power as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very powerful. One day early in the year, Ron's wand, which was broken when he and Harry flew into the Whomping Willow, accidentally hit Professor Flitwick on the forehead, causing a large boil to pop up. What color was the boil? God, that's a tough-ass question. Green, orange, brown, or pink?
It's green. I don't know why I know that, but
We'll see. These questions are crazy hard. How many giant pumpkins was Hagrid growing in preparation for Halloween? 5, 15, 12, or 24?
I gotta say 5.
I don't think it's 5, but I'll put 5.
12?
I think it was like 12 or 15. I don't know. 5 just seems like it's...
Put them all over the Great Hall, so it has to be like 12.
What color are fire-dwelling salamanders?
What?
Black, yellow, green, or orange?
I don't even remember that being a thing. Orange?
No idea.
The color of fire? I don't know.
Yeah. According to Ron, Harry, and Hermione, about how many ghosts attended Nearly Headless Nick's death party? Thousands, dozens, tons, or hundreds? It's a weird question.
Dozens. Good size party.
What excuse does Hermione give to Moaning Myrtle as to why she brought Harry and Ron into a girl's bathroom? They were doing something secret. They had to go real bad. She wanted to show them how nice it was. They were hiding from Peeves.
A secret. Something.
I think it was they were hiding from Peeves. Okay. But we'll see. When the rogue bludger is trying to kill Harry, which beater, Fred or George, signals to Wood that they need a timeout? Good God.
This is way better than the Sparkness.
This is tough.
Let's go. I think it was Fred.
All right. We will find out. What does Harry eat for breakfast after his night spent regrowing bones in the hospital wing? Porridge, sausages, toast, or oatmeal? This quiz is nuts. During the dueling club, Snape gets rid of Malfoy's snake with a puff of colored smoke. What color was the smoke? Red, green, black, or silver? So my thought is that it's green because everything in dealing with snakes is green, like Slytherin's green, all that stuff is green. It could be silver, but my educated guess would be green. When Harry is taken to Dumbledore's office after finding a petrified Justin, Finch, Fletchley, and Nearly Headless Nick, who quickly comes to his defense?
Choices?
Ron, Hagrid, Hermione, or Snape?
It's gotta be Hagrid. Hagrid's always defending or got Harry's back.
I think that it's Snape, but we will see. I think that it's Snape. When Harry and Ron go into Slytherin common room as Crabbe and Goyle, what does Malfoy say the password is? Salazar, Pureblood, Down, Mudbloods, or Riddle?
Pureblood. It's definitely Pureblood.
After Harry, I have no idea. It might be Salazar, but we'll see. All these we're going to have to find out after we submit. After Harry finds Tom Riddle's diary, where does he go to find out more about Riddle? Ooh, that's a good question. The trophy room, the library, Dumbledore's office, or to Professor McGonagall?
I'm going to say the trophy room.
I'm pretty sure it's the trophy room. Doesn't he have to clean the trophy room after something?
Ron gets the attention. He has to scrub.
Oh, he's like throwing up slugs or something?
Yeah, he has to scrub the trophies
And he keeps throwing up on the trophy. Yeah, that's gross.
Clean it, throw up on it, clean it. Oh.
Yeah. While in Riddle's diary / memory, what is the last sentence Harry hears before returning to the present? No. Yes. You'll regret that riddle. Maybe.
No.
I mean, that's ridiculous. They're all written out like that. Like I read them as they were written. What does Hagrid serve Harry and Ron to drink when they visit at him after Hermione has been petrified? Boiling water, iced tea, hot tea, or butterbeer?
I wish it was butterbeer. I'm pretty sure it's hot tea or something. Some kind of tea.
Yeah, I think it is. Just as it seems Ginny is about to reveal something about the Chamber of Secrets to Ron and Harry, who interrupts them? Percy, Malfoy, Hedwig, or Neville?
Percy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Percy.
I love that whole part two character arc of Ginny, like slowly kind of deteriorating. And I didn't really pick up on that until the end, when it's revealed that she's getting her soul literally taken out of her.
Yeah.
Then you look back and I was like, oh shit. She was slowly like getting sick and pale and weak.
Yeah, you could see, well, yeah, it was constantly dropping hints as to like something was going on with this girl. Who was teasing Moaning Myrtle about her glasses just before she died? Don Sullivan, Tom Riddle, Olive Hornby, or Marcus Borith? That is a question and a half.
Questions are like mentioned in one sentence.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Olive Hornby if you don't protest.
Sure.
According to Tom Riddle, who was the only teacher who seemed to suspect him of wrongdoing? Dippet, Wessrig, McGonagall, or Dumbledore?
Was it Dumbledore?
Beats me. Submit my answers. All right, we got all those right. The cursed necklace killed 19 muggles.
That's what I said, right?
I don't know. I put 17, but you probably said 19. The correct answer was hundreds of ghosts that attended nearly Hedrick Nick's party, as opposed to dozens.
He had a banger.
He had an absolute banger. What did she tell Moaning Myrtle as they went to the bathroom? It was that they were hiding from Peeves. George was the brother who signaled to Wood that they needed timeout. Darn. After his night of regrowing bones in the hospital wing, he ate sausages. I'm sorry, he ate porridge, not sausages. Snape gets rid of Malfoy's snake with a black puff of smoke. Got that one wrong. Who quickly comes to Harry's defense? It was Hagrid. You got that one right. Good job. I thought it was Snape. Well done. Well done. Ooh, we got the no thing right. Hagrid served Ron and Harry boiling water. I guess he forgot to add tea bags. Yeah, he says he forgot to add tea bags. What an oof. Olive Hornby was the one who teased Moaning Myrtle before she died. Nice. We got that one. We got a 16 out of 25. The average score for this quiz is 17 out of 25. Not a great showing from us. Not a great showing at all. So I guess the last topic I want to talk about is Voldemort, who is now talked about as the heir of Slytherin. So how does that, as a reader from the first and second book, how does that impact Voldemort to you, knowing that he was once a Hogwarts student, that he was very active with Dumbledore when he was a student there, and that he's the heir of Slytherin, which is considered like an extremely powerful and evil idea?
It's honestly made him better, in my opinion, as like a villain, because he comes from the same soil as everyone else in a way. Like he's not just this astronomical villain. Like he came from there. He's been there, but makes him also more of a threat because just like in this book, like he is all up in the Chamber of Secrets. He knows everything. because he went there, so he knows he's always got like a leg up on everybody. He he figured out how to put himself into like this after state where his memories of his past could come out of a diary. Like that's nuts, and like he used that to manipulate Ginny. So this book. I love this book because it, like I said before, it's just a very obvious dark twist, like dark turn. We're going now. Like this is trajectorying everything else. Like we're never gonna go back to like
innocent
fun and magic and a couple of problems, but like
it's become very obvious that Voldemort is making multiple now attempts to get to Harry.
Right.
So like you just said, the fact that he was, and he may have always been evil all along, we don't necessarily know that, but he was at least at one point just like a student at Hogwarts, going to the same classes and everything. Like you said, he's went to the school, so he knows how to be in the school and how to infiltrate the school, and it makes it even more dangerous, especially for Harry, that it's now obvious that he is trying to get to Harry because he has the past two books. I think overall the Harry Potter series, each book grows up with the audience. So I think you nailed it on the head saying that like probably won't see any more of that like innocence, first time walking into Diagon Alley feeling, or first time sitting in like a class type of feeling. I mean, the story is now a story between Harry and Voldemort pretty much moving forward, and it's been setting up, but I think now after the second book you really get a taste of that. Yeah, so what specifically about the ending did you not love?
I love the entire book. Like it's dark, there's mystery, there's panic because nobody knows what's going on, who's doing it, who's gonna die next, like, or not die, but who's gonna get attacked next. All that was awesome. I think the first book had a better ending because I know you can't repeat this every time, but like I loved that whole sequence when, like we talked about, like Ron, Hermione, and Harry had to come together individually, figure out a task in order for all of them to succeed and get through that labyrinth of crazy puzzles. Like that was awesome. I feel like at the end of this book, though, everything kind of just fell into Harry's lap, and it was way too convenient. Like they're about to die from Aragog. Oh, the car saves you. He's about to die from the basilisk. Oh, here's Fox with magical sword that's gonna kill him. I'm like, okay, it's kind of convenient, but I mean, it still works. But that was just my only thought.
Well, let me throw this back at you. So, what does everybody call Harry?
What do you mean?
The whole wizarding world, what do they call Harry?
Oh, the boy who lived.
And what else? Yes, but he's the chosen one.
Okay. Yeah.
So do you think that book 2 was trying to give more like identification to Harry being like the chosen one, meaning like even when his back's against the wall, like
right,
people or like the world or like objects like a car is going to come out and save the day kind of? Right. Or do you think it was more to show that Harry can, even though he does get saved, like he does more by himself in this one, especially when Hermione goes out, and like Ron is kind of useless,
and then Ron they get left behind literally.
Yeah,
he walk through the rest of the tunnel by himself. So that part I liked. Like he had to like nut up and walk into the Chamber of Secrets alone. Like that's very hard to do.
Yeah. But I know what you're talking about. It was a very different ending. Mr. Johnny Trappe, out of 5 broomsticks, how many broomsticks would you give Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets?
So because I loved darkness and the whole sense and the fear and everything, but the ending kind of fell short for me. I'm also going to give this 4 broomsticks. 5.
Do you want to add any decimals to it?
We can do that, yeah. If you're going to do that,
because that could differentiate book 1 and book 2 a little bit.
Yeah. Then I would say this is a 4.5.
Well done, Harry. Well done.
That is book 2, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, as told by myself and Mr. John Trappe. Join us next time as we enter the world of Azkaban in Harry Potter and the Prison of Azkaban.
Looking forward to it.
Good stuff, man. Take it easy. Alohomora.